Ancient voices, living voices, the sage message. From the beginning of time, they have always known, from the spirits of the elders, the truth comes home together. Ancient knowing living voice, the sage message.
Hello, children of the light. Welcome to yet another episode of Sage Sundays with Ikukula Benguni. Right, I just got back from the gym and the endorphins are pumping. So I thought, let me just get this out of the way real quick. And I was looking through the episode list just before I started recording. And I was just asking myself, which episode is my favorite one? Which episode do I like the most? And I think all of them are like my children in a way, because they kind of focus on different aspects and they reflect where I am on a given Sunday. So I feel strongly about all of them. But the one that stood out to me today, because it could have been any other on any other day, right? But the one that stood out to me today was one of the earliest ones, To Whom Much is Given. And the thing about that episode is I speak about where our abundance comes from. And in the last episode, I spoke quite a bit about how we can restore our abundance, how we can find our way back to lost or compromised abundance, if I could put it that way. How we can find our way back to our optimal existence, right? And I think it then led me to this place where I feel like so many lessons have been learned over the years through my spirituality. And as I was thinking about every single thing that I've learned, I realized that I'd arrived at what I wanted today's episode to focus on. And so today's episode is titled 11 Lessons Idlozi Has Taught Me. And I focus on, generic life stuff, you guys. So I'm sorry if I don't say anything profound. But these are my lessons. If wena ufuna into ezi earth shaking, you can have your own. But these are mine, right? And so I'm sorry if some of them feel a little obvious. But they are things that have stuck with me, been valuable, and also a comfort in some instances. And so I wanted to document my lessons. So, class is in session. Let's go. Lesson number 1. Idlozi has taught me that there is a bit of God in all of us, and our fundamental purpose is striving to do better. I think in the beginning, I struggled quite a bit with coming to terms with the responsibility that was set on my shoulders. I struggled quite a bit with coming to terms with the reality of who I was born to be. And a big part of the struggle was because I compared myself to my siblings. I compared myself to my friends. I compared myself to a lot of other people who I felt had been dealt an easier life. But with time, I have come to realize that actually everybody has their cross to bear in this lifetime. It just might not look the same from the outside. You might feel like you have it hard in a specific area, but rest assured, someone would look at your struggle and choose to take that up in lieu of whatever it is that they have going on in their life. And so, idlozi has taught me to be okay with where I am on any given day. And that it's okay for me to feel a sense of resentment, to feel a sense of defeat, to feel a sense of envy even on other days, right? That the good emotions are as much a part of the God in me as the negative emotions. And the only thing that I can really be held accountable for is how I show up in the world. And so there's no shame in feeling a way about where you are, but there's definitely shame in not making better choices. That's all I'm going to say on that. I said what I said. Lesson number 2. Idlozi has taught me that no one but myself holds my past against me. And to some extent, this is kind of connected to lesson number 1, right? I have to be okay with my past. I have to be at peace with the life that I have lived. Because if I cannot put my past to rest, then I cannot face the future at all. There's this common saying that's along the lines of no one can make you inferior unless you give them permission to. And this is what I'm alluding to here. To be like, if you're okay with who you were, if you have moved on from what you were, then nobody can take you back there. If you were rolling about in the mud with the pigs and you woke up one day and you came to your senses and you came back to South and you were like, I don't belong here. I'm going to go over there, take a shower and walk away from this shit. And you did exactly that. The pigs could look at you and be like, oh, she really thinks she's better than us now, doesn't she? We were rolling about in the mud together. And you have every right to look at the pigs and be like, but I am better now. Because guess who is not in the mud anymore? So, remember that. No one but yourself holds your past against you. That's all. Lesson number 3. Idlozi has taught me that I may feel isolated and alone, but I'm never actually alone. And I've spent the last couple of episodes reflecting on my personal journey to discovery of idlozi, discovery of how my life experiences have shaped my areas of specialization when it comes to healing. And the one thing that I believe stands true or stands firm in all of that is there has never been a point, even at the most difficult times, that I have been left alone. I may have felt lonely. However, I never really was alone. Because while the people in this realm that we exist in may be stripped and taken from you, they only transition into a new form of existence. And this was something that took time for me to grasp. That just because something does not exist in this realm does not mean it is absent. And so isolation is only a construction of our minds. That's what it is in my understanding. You're only as alone as you allow yourself to be, in a way. And that might sound a bit crazy. As soon as I said it, I was like, yeah, that'll sound a bit odd, right? But I mean it. Why do I mean it? Because if you ever need help, if you ever feel like you are lost at sea, all you have to do is send out an SOS, and help is absolutely on the way. And this is how I now know that I am never really alone. Because in the moments where I have felt at my lowest, all on my own, there's always been someone that comes to my aid for as long as I have articulated the need for assistance. And in some cases, help has come to my rescue even without me asking for a single thing. So I'm not saying you have ghosts floating around you. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I am saying you're never really alone, despite how isolated you may feel. Remember that. Lesson number 4. Idlozi has taught me that I am loved fiercely and always protected. We've all witnessed a plane crash, right? Not in person, but you know what I mean. We've all lived to see a plane crash at some point. Or a plane disappearance in recent years, because apparently planes disappear as well now. But anyway, we've all witnessed that, right? And what I've always been fascinated by in those instances is that one person that shows up on the news and is like, I was supposed to be on that plane and I missed it. I woke up too late. Or I got bumped off the flight. You know, there's always someone that does that. And for me, I've always thought this is the ultimate example to show how sometimes idlozi will step in and spare you a pain or ensure that you do not die prematurely. And when I think about being loved fiercely and protected, then I also think about all the different things that I've wanted for myself but have somehow been denied. And I often conclude that there's no way that this thing was good for me if I didn't get it. But at the same time, I have a healthy relationship with abantu bami, and because the relationship with abantu bami is healthy, then it's easy for me to believe that they'll always want to give me exactly what I ask for. And so when they say not now or not yet, it's easy for me to believe, oh, I'm being protected. Oh, I'm going to get more. Lesson number 5. Idlozi has taught me that I must swim or otherwise accept sinking. Now, I've just been talking about how you're never really alone, how you're loved fiercely and you're protected, and all of this. But for the life of me, participation is required. I was talking to someone earlier, and I'd said to them, sometimes the best opportunities are laid at your feet, but you still need to take the necessary steps to finish the job. If your best version doesn't show up for a specific role or opportunity or anything else, there is nothing that idlozi can do to help you. If you had been shortlisted for the best job in the world, but you showed up drunk out of your head, that's not happening. And it has nothing to do with any spiritual wounding or blockage or anything else. Usile wena, and so it didn't happen. That's the end of it. Uziphethe kabi. Right? That's it. But if you do what you are supposed to do, which in the case of my lesson is swim, then you are not sinking. Not in this lifetime, not in the next. You are doing what you need to do, and so the propellers that you need to carry you forward will show up and ensure you meet your goals effortlessly. But all of this can only happen if you show up consistently and do what needs to be done. So that's that. Lesson 6. That life is lived in seasons, and there are people that mean everything to you today who will become strangers in the future, and it's okay. And in this instance, I'm talking about relationships of all kinds. I'm talking about familial connections. I'm talking about romantic connections. I'm talking about platonic connections. And in all three areas, there will be people that you will need to cut loose. Not because you do not care for them, but because they don't fit into the puzzle anymore. And I think this is a really sensitive topic when it comes to Black families, when it comes to African families in a way, because we are raised to be willing to take the shirts off our backs to give to someone else if required. But I would like to put it to all of you that is so toxic in so many different ways. Because I will be damned if I am going to kick my own butt and do everything that idlozi has asked of me while you are sat over there having a jolly good time, and then turn around and give you the benefits of my labor. And it's a little deeper than just what you think, right? I'll tell you that there's something about the source of your abundance and how they will jealously guard what they have given you. If idlozi lakho is behind the abundance that you now enjoy, you cannot channel your abundance towards someone that is not in good standing with idlozi lakho, unless you're trying to start some shit with your own people. And no one wants to hear this, but that is the reality. And I think this is a good example in this case, right? Deadbeat father impregnates your mother and never honors his responsibilities, does not pay inhlawulo to your family, does not claim you as his child, does absolutely nothing. And when now you grow up, esibayeni sakwamalume, and everything of yours ibuya lapho. Inhlanhla yakho ibuya lapho. Right? Then here you are, you're now grown up, you're working and all of this, and we find you now saying, oh no, ngisaya lobolela ubaba laphaya. Why are you the one that's going to pay for your father's transgressions? And you're going to pay for your father's transgressions using money that came from where? And then suddenly your things aren't moving anymore because you went and started some shit. All in the name of not wanting to accept that there are people that mean everything to you today who will become strangers in the future. And I think it's most difficult to grasp with family because we're taught that family is forever. We are taught that family is meant to care for each other unconditionally. These are the longest surviving myths of familial connection because neither of them are true. If someone is not in good standing with idlozi, they're out. Now, if you're not in good standing with idlozi, you are out. So you need to remember that. If you're in and the other person is out because they have made a series of dodgy decisions, you cannot try and save a hoe. Don't save her. You know how the rest goes. Exactly. So that's lesson 6. Life is lived in seasons. And just because we were buddies when we were rolling about in the mud together, it doesn't mean we can level up to the next level together. There's some people that you're going to need to leave behind. And even I have friends that I think about sometimes and I'm like, I wonder how that person is. But then I also realize we have nothing in common based on the person that I've become. And so I'm at peace, knowing that I don't really see where they'd fit in my life today. So remember that life is lived in seasons. And some people are only in your life for a time. And after that, they're strangers. And it's okay. Lesson 7. That letting go is the last stop on the way to self-actualization. Now, if you're ever going to have a superpower, right? If anything was ever to be characterized as a superpower, I'll tell you that it's the capability to be detached from outcomes and letting go of control in situations. Because I've said to people in many instances that there is nothing that you can do that will change what is destined for you. If something is meant for you, you're not going to miss out on it. There is nothing that you can do to change it working out. And so anything that feels like a near miss probably wasn't intended for you, and you need to be okay with that. Now, I know that's difficult to stomach. Even I don't like it. Sometimes I'm like dead set on something and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the thing. And then it isn't the thing. Then it's awkward for everybody. But the point is, letting go is the ultimate life hack. If you have no control over it and you have done what you need to do, then step away from it and let life take its course. Okay? Great. Lesson number 8. That we live in the past. Nothing about our lives is coincidental or unplanned. And this is kind of linked to lesson 7, isn't it? If everything that we are living through is pre-established, then we simply need to live the life that has been put in front of us. Nothing about life is ever a random incident. And I often think that people that emphasize coincidence in their lives are somehow enabling a limiting belief of sorts. Because if you believe that some of the best things that have happened to you were merely coincidental, then you have a problem. Because you'll never figure out what to do to get a favorable outcome. Because when something goes my way, I will often spend time thinking about what I did right, where I was, what I was wearing, what I was eating, what time I'd woken up. It's like I'm trying to figure out the perfect conditions that led to this specific outcome. Which is why when it comes to some of my greatest accomplishments, I can tell you exactly what I had to do, exactly what kind of sacrifices I had to make to pull it off, right? I'll give you an example. My PhD was pure hell. It was almost my 13th reason. But I spoke to someone I was seeing at the time, and he said, you spend so much time moaning about this PhD. And I was getting ready to be upset by what he was saying to me, because how dare he claim I spend time moaning about it, right? And he was like, you spend so much time moaning about it, but I wish you'd make a decision on whether you're going to do it or you're going to quit. Because if you are going to do it, there's really no reason for you to moan as much as you do about it. Just do it. It didn't go down very well in the moment. But he had a point. He had a point. We live in the past. Nothing about our lives is coincidental or unplanned. So, if you're not going to do it, then quit. But for the life of us, for the life of all of us, stop moaning. Lesson number 9. That the good die young, and only the ones with lessons left to learn remain. So be kind to others. They, like you, are still learning and healing. Now, I spend a lot of time talking about relationships with our families, relationships with friends, relationships with loved ones. Well, maybe not. Yeah, mostly with families, right? And I often think about how when you reach a point of enlightenment, but are surrounded by people that don't quite see things like you do yet, how frustrating and difficult it is, and also potentially a point where you could easily become judgmental of those around you. And I often like to point out to people that we are all on our respective journeys. And the most important thing for everybody to remember is that we're in this together and we need to stick with each other through it. And I've just been talking about how some people will need to be cut loose in the process because there's no value in being Captain Save-A-Ho if someone's journey is taking them down that route. And some people will need us to cut them some slack because there's no point in you being Judge Judy when in the not so recent past you were also struggling with your random shit. So, all this to say, be kind. Everybody is going through something, you guys. Be kind. Be kind to each other. Tandanani. Lesson 10. That healing means pain sometimes. Now, imagine coming in for a love reading with me, because those are like common. People really love looking into their love lives and why their situationships don't like them. No offense. But anyway, imagine coming in for a love reading and walking out with an issue ebhekana nomsamo. So imagine that, right? Imagine coming in trying to figure out why things aren't coming together in your love life and exiting the building with a long story and how you now need to pretty much address some generational curse. When all you were trying to do was figure out why uSibusiso engangithandi kahle. So imagine that. Healing means pain sometimes. And you may go to a healer to present a symptom only to return with knowledge of the root cause. And I would encourage you to remember that the root cause and resolution of the root cause will forever be far more important than putting a band-aid over a fracture or broken bone, right? So you need to understand how the best healers will almost always find the root cause for what is causing the pain. And you should always remember, it's better to know the root cause than to be given paracetamol for the symptom. Remember that. The last one. Lesson 11. That you can never love anyone more than you love yourself. And if you do not love yourself, nobody can love you. I'm sorry, okay? I know I'm firing shots. I'm shaking tables. However, this is something that everybody needs to hear, because it happens to the best of us. If you have not figured out how to love yourself in the state you are in today, not after you have lost that 5 kilos today, not after you have grown your hair to your bum today, not after you have finished that degree. No. Today, if you do not love yourself in your current reality, no one will ever love you better. Because the greatest love anyone can experience is from themselves. And this is the greatest kept secret. Because guess what, you guys? The fairy tale sells. But the reality is, the person you will spend the most amount of time with in your lifetime is yourself. So you need to like you. You need to like being with you. And this is the most beneficial position to be in. Do you know why? Because no one could ever threaten you with leaving you. No one could ever threaten you with being alone. You will only ever exist in spaces where you are treated the way you treat yourself. And as soon as love is no longer being served, you will learn on that day to get up and walk away. Because, like I said, no one can ever love you more than you love yourself. I love me. I just thought I should put that out there. And because I love me, I'm in a position to say, I love you. You are loved. And that's it for this week. We'll talk next week. Bye.
Ancient voices, living voices, the sage message.